Buff Nation, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a great day. This is going to be a little bit quicker of a show, but I thought I would just get on real quick, give you my opinion on all these things live, and then we can see how the second day of the draft turns out. First off, I will be getting to the transfer portal news probably after the draft concludes in terms of where these guys are going. But we got to talk about Zach Owens and a few of the other guys hitting the portal, where we're going from here. We'll have to see. Getting super freaking pumped to see Travis Hunter with the Jaguars. That's awesome. But man, a big mistake yesterday. I'm going to stand on it. The NFL made a big mistake. I'm passing on Shedeur Sanders, man. And I want to shout out Mel Kiper, man. He has been like the only draft expert that I feel like is still standing 10 toes down, so to speak, for Shedeur. He hasn't let any of the other mess and all the other BS that's in the media dictate his evaluation of Shedeur based on the film. And here's the thing. There's plenty of bust quarterbacks that have gone in the first round. I think there are a lot of people celebrating today for some reason that Shedeur has fallen out of the first round. But I really do think that this could be end up being a good situation for him. Because, again, you're not going to go to a poverty franchise, hopefully, like the Cleveland Browns. Hopefully, I'm not jinxing that. I just don't want him to go to Cleveland. New York, after them taking Jackson Dart, who throws picks in crunch time all the time, who cries on the sidelines. You think he's going to not get eaten alive out in New York City? Shedeur is built for New York City, man, to handle it. But you might say, Dave, why did he fall? I don't think it's anything with character concerns. I don't think it's anything with the film. Again, his film, statistics, production, his leadership, if you have followed him as closely as we have and other people that are close to Colorado, such as Joel Klatt. I mean, you saw how outspoken he was today, or Robert Griffin III, guys who know Shedeur personally. They're upset. They're flabbergasted. It's true. I don't think he fell for any of those reasons. You say, well, he holds onto the ball and takes too many sacks. There are plenty of other quarterbacks that have held onto the ball too long going into the NFL from college. For some reason, Zach Wilson was totally cool with being the second overall pick just a few years ago, and that dude had like 10 seconds of just time out there in the pocket at BYU, just throwing it deep every single snap. But everybody was okay with Zach Wilson going number 2, man. No, I honestly think that this is it. And again, I would just want to say I'm not defending the NFL for this, because I think that this is a problem that needs to be solved, but I'm trying to explain, I think this is why it happened. And we could break this down in a super detailed way. I'm not going to do it, but the NFL is a relationship business. Agents get their guys drafted. NBC reported out a couple months ago how Shedeur and Shiloh were not going to have agents, how they were going to represent themselves. The Sanders family would do the representation. We know we've seen this with, for instance, Lamar Jackson as well. And Lamar Jackson, superstar coming out of college. He was also somebody who was talked about in a way that just made no sense. Again, that old coach GM saying, hey, you should move to wide receiver and all this stuff. But you turn on the film, he can throw the ball, right? He's a dynamic playmaker, but he also doesn't have an agent and still doesn't. I think his mom does everything for him. Now, Jaden Daniels, now that I'm thinking about this, I think he does have an agent. Yeah. He's represented from Agency One Sports. Okay, so forget that. But Lamar Jackson, not having any of that representation. Remember, during that draft preparation period, there was a lot of bullshit in the media about Lamar Jackson. And a lot of times, man, in my opinion, these agents are able to kind of corral that. And Again, it's a relationship business. Agents get their guys drafted. I mean, you've seen guys like Anthony Richardson go like top 5, right? You've seen Daniel Jones go pick 6 overall. You've seen, drug addicts and alcoholics like Johnny Manziel go in the first round, or Jamarcus Russell go first overall. You can name the amount of busts. I mean, Lee Steinberg represented Paxton Lynch, who ton of concerns with his character. Got him drafted in the first round, and if it wasn't going to be by the Broncos, it was going to be by the Dallas Cowboys. It's a relationship business. I think agents play a huge role in how these interviews go, as well as how the media talks about their guys. And to me, I can only think of one other player that was somewhat in the same situation, and that was Lamar Jackson, and he fell to pick 32. And he should have been, if not top 5, the first pick overall in that draft. But you see what happens when guys have agents. All of a sudden, Josh Allen, the different things that he said on Twitter and all these different things, not as big of an issue. All of a sudden, Carson Wentz character issues aren't really an issue at all going second overall. You've seen Baker Mayfield being, quote unquote, arrogant, having his confidence, always talked about as being brash and arrogant, talking trash and all this stuff, man. Stuff that doesn't matter. That didn't matter at all for when he went first overall. I think, again, I think a lot of this could have been curtailed by somebody like Drew Rosenhaus. Does not let Shedeur Sanders fall. Lee Steinberg doesn't. You could bring up Young Money, Travis Hunter's agency that he signed with. I believe that's owned by Lil Wayne, but they have like real NFL agents working with everybody. And while me personally, I don't think that this is an issue. Not having an agent should not be an issue. Not at all. I think it's clear that it is something that does upset NFL owners, franchises, GMs. I think that is pretty clear. You've seen it with the Lamar Jackson contract extension, how that played out over the last couple of years. Again, like all this stuff, it just doesn't go as you would hope, as it should. Sometimes, I guess, when you're dealing with the families. Now, I don't think Sanders' family is anything to be concerned about. Again, you're talking about Shedeur Sanders, man. When you look at who he is as a person, nobody's talking about, the work that he does with the kids, the local schools, somebody that has played through so many injuries, who's willing to take hits, right? Played with fractures in his back, tough as nails. He never threw his offensive line, under the bus. He's a great teammate. Thought he was a great leader here at CU, represented and still will represent Colorado fantastically moving forward. And, but I think, again, some of these NFL teams don't like the fact that it's decisions being made, solely by a family and people close to a family. That's how I see it. And you saw Lamar Jackson was penalized for this, and not to the extent, because the Ravens could see through all the bullshit and could understand, hey, if we can get up to 32, like this guy's going to be really good for us, man. Right? Weren't as many quarterback needy teams immediately. But you also had some, again, like, some of the Giants fans said, man, Giants are a racist organization. Maybe so, man. We're going with Jackson Dart, man. But Shedeur's never cried on the sidelines. He's never done any of that. And again, I can understand if you had Cam Ward as your top quarterback. I understand that. Cam Ward's a very good quarterback. I don't happen to agree. But to say that guys like Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shook are better than this guy is absolutely insane. And I think that just like the league paid, severely for skipping over a guy like Lamar Jackson, that's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders. And I am really hoping that this allows him to go to a great situation. I'm just praying to God it's not Cleveland. I don't want him to go to Cleveland. That's where players go to die. That's why I was so happy when Travis Hunter went to the Jags. He's going back home to Florida. It's an awesome storyline. It's going to be so much fun to watch him play. Cleveland, okay, I think I'm back. But in terms of landing spots, hopefully this allows him to go to a situation to where, um, he if it's helpful for him to sit a little bit and then take over, like you're talking about the Rams with Matthew Stafford possibly being in his last year. I would love that. I would love to see him in Los Angeles. I think that'd be cool. San Francisco 49ers, that one's probably a way more of a dark horse because whether you like it or not, I think they're looking to extend Brock Purdy, but I think Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. But um, let's not forget who won the Super Bowl this year. A guy who was a Heisman finalist and totally overlooked for different reasons, but nonetheless overlooked um, for just like overthinking things. And that was Jalen Hurts, right? People said he couldn't throw the ball, right? No, man, the guy was a big time playmaker, incredible person, right? Leader, ultimate teammate, right? And you saw when he went to Oklahoma, he progressed so much in the passing, but again, I think Jalen Hurts has an agent, but so it's not like comparing apples to apples, right? A little bit different with him. But all I'm trying to say is I think that there's still a really good situation that Shador could land to. And I still think he's the best quarterback in this draft. And I think he's being penalized because he does things differently than 99% of the people coming into the draft, right? That's not how it should be. I don't think that's fair, but I think that is like, again, you're telling me he signed with Lee Steinberg, Patrick Mahomes' agent, or Drew Rosenhaus. There is no way in hell that this guy is slipping to the second round. There is no way in hell. But I understand like you want to keep things in the family, and I think all that stuff's a lot of fun. I think it's great. I can understand, you know, I can understand how with like how certain GMs and teams are, how they would be off put by that. I don't agree with it, but I think that that is probably it's literally the only thing I can explain because Stor's a great young man. Like uh, you want to penalize him because he wears jewelry? I think we've seen plenty of guys that go in the first round that wear jewelry, right? But I think that this is more penalizing unfairly because he's not doing things the status quo way, right? He's Colin Cowherd gets on him for wearing his hat backwards, right? Jackson Dart does the same thing. Nobody cares about that, right? So it's all just dumb. An agent helps curtail a lot of this bullshit, and I think that's also why you have seen the conversation about him, especially during the draft season, just get completely out of hand. I think that in retrospect, it would have been very wise to have somebody like Drew Rosenhaus or somebody, yes, that's outside of that, but has the cachet, has the relationships to just ensure the optimal, uh, most top draft position possible. So that's it. Yeah, and when we take a look at what spots he could land to, let's just take a look. Obviously, Cleveland is on the board. I am terrified of the Cleveland Browns. Again, I didn't want either of our Buffs players to go there. I'm still very worried about Cleveland because they have a lot of picks, but I just think it's a terrible franchise. No other explanation needed there. Tennessee will not take him, obviously, with them taking Cam Ward. Las Vegas could be an interesting situation. Pete Carroll absolutely loves Geno Smith. But again, in the second round, that's different. It's different. You can take a guy like that. Again, remember the Eagles drafted Carson Wentz, and then they drafted Jalen Hurts. New England, Chicago, no. New Orleans at 40 could be a destination. And I think some Saints fans were pretty pissed, that they skipped on Shedeur. I saw that NFL.com had Jalen Milroe going there, I think it was, but I understand Jalen Milroe's more of a Jalen Hurts type of guy. But I mean, don't forget, Kellen Moore worked so often with Dak Prescott, who I feel like does have similarities to Shedeur. Like their game. So I wouldn't just pencil in Jalen Milroe because of Jalen Hurts. I don't think that's wise, but they need a lot more pieces other than just quarterback. This would be a tough situation at first for Shedeur, and maybe New Orleans just wants Spencer Rattler to be their tank commander. We'll have to see. The Jets are a tricky one. I don't believe in Justin Fields at all, and I don't like New York Jets. But Shedeur can handle the New York media. I think he's tough as nails when it comes to that. I've said this before. I think he's built for New York City. And strangely enough, I really like this coaching staff with Aaron Glenn and the different assistants that he's hired. And this could be an interesting situation. I think this could be a lot of fun, even though the Jets are like a cursed franchise. I really do like Aaron Glenn. I know he's not an offensive guru, but he's brought guys over from Detroit who I feel like that system would fit Shedeur really, really well. And, maybe Woody Johnson truly is not drafting guys based on Madden ratings anymore, but if he's drafting them based on NCAA football video game ratings, Shedeur should be the pick at 42. Niners, already talked about them. Dark Horse Cowboys. Dak has $105 million in dead money if they move on from him this year, but I don't know what that looks like moving forward. Colts, they're kind of more so one of those inept franchises, right? I mean, they got Anthony Richardson, who I think I've just given up on at this point, and Daniel Jones. Shedeur's better than both those guys, man, and plays in the Dome in the AFC South. It could be an interesting landing spot for him that honestly I feel like could be a sneaky good one, but they always seem to just screw it up somehow, right? The Colts do. This is where I want Shedeur to go. LA Rams, sit behind Matthew Stafford for a year and then just let Shedeur and Sean McVay absolutely cook after Matthew Stafford retires. I think that this is like my ideal situation. Dolphins need to move off of Tua, but they ain't going to do that. Seattle, I think this could be another interesting landing spot. This Sam Darnold deal, yes, it's got a lot of money, but most of the guarantees are through this year, and you kind of have half of the remaining through next year. So Seattle could be an interesting spot as well. They're in a rebuild, though, but they got a good defense. They're prioritizing offensive line, and they could draft him here at pick 50 or 52. Outside of that, none of these other teams will draft him. So we'll have to see. Again, New York already put their stake in the ground for Jackson Dart, just mind-blowing. I wanted to give Joe Shane and Brian Daboll the benefit of the doubt, but man, that was a steep price to pay for, at best a third quarterback in this draft. And I'm just saying it. So, Bus fans or just Shedeur fans, I mean, if you're panicking about this, no, man, I think that there's still a lot of great opportunity for him to land in a really good situation. For him long term, God, I just hope it's not Cleveland. Watch it be Cleveland. I'm gonna have to become a Browns. I can't do that. I cannot do that anywhere but Cleveland. I'm a Broncos fan. I'll take the Raiders over Cleveland. I'll do anything, but you cannot have him go to Cleveland. They call pick 33. You don't even pick up the phone. Yeah. Does he have that COVID year left to exercise? Right. Yeah, but I really do think the biggest thing is just not having an agent. And again, you can break that down into so many details of why I feel like that could benefit him during this. But again, you tell me Drew Rosenhaus represents Shedeur Sanders. I am betting the little life savings that I have on the fact that he's going in the first round. FP, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, hope Juju stays humble and quiet like he has been. I think he will be. And again, I don't think that, some people say, well, man, this is going to absolutely kill CU recruit. I don't think so at all. No, I think that this is something truly specific to the Sanders family. I don't think it's fair. I mean, it didn't penalize Travis Hunter at all. And again, you look at some of the differences. I mean, Travis is basically, the other son in the Sanders family. But I think it's lame. But I do think that having an agent sure helped Travis Hunter extract as much earning potential as he could have gotten in this year's NFL draft. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens today. But man, I can't wait to see what happens, man. But guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I got some work to get to, but really do appreciate all you guys hopping in. Once Shador's picked, I'll have a video to drop about that. Then we'll get to talking about all the transfer portal drama. We can crash out about that afterwards. So y'all have a wonderful day. Let's go Buffs.